To start today's egg and bean dish, I prepared a piece of soft white bean in a clean bowl. The bean looked very fresh and smooth, just right to be combined with eggs. Then, I cracked 3 eggs into the bean mixture. The yolks and whites mixed together, creating a beautiful bright yellow color. Next, I used an egg beater to beat the mixture evenly. I stirred gently so that the eggs and beans blended together. The bean pieces were also beaten, creating a smooth mixture. When beaten correctly, the egg mixed in the bean will become more fatty and fragrant when cooked. Next, I moved on to preparing the wood ear mushrooms to make the dish more crispy and fragrant. I took a small handful of dried wood ear mushrooms and put them in a clean bowl. I added a spoonful of white vinegar, a spoonful of salt, and a spoonful of sugar to the bowl. This trio of spices helps clean the wood ear mushrooms, remove dirt, and create a fresh feeling for the ingredients. Then, I poured water over the wood ear mushrooms and used chopsticks to stir gently so that the spices dissolved in the water. As I stirred, you will see the wood ear mushrooms begin to soften and absorb the water. While waiting for the wood ear mushrooms to bloom, I quickly moved on to preparing the chicken. I prepared a small piece of meat, then sliced it into thin slices. Choose lean chicken without fat so that when cooked, the flavor will be lighter and clearer. Then, I continued to mince it so that the chicken can absorb the spices easily and blend better when cooked with eggs and beans. When the meat was minced to my liking, I put it in a small bowl. I added a spoonful of oyster sauce to create richness, then a spoonful of cooking oil to make the meat softer and shinier when cooked. I mixed the mixture well, feeling that each piece of meat was coated with spices very evenly and fragrantly. After mixing, I set the bowl of meat aside. After letting the wood ear mushrooms soak for a while, I went back to clean them again. At this point, the wood ear mushrooms had started to soften and expand evenly. I added a spoonful of flour to the bowl. This is a little trick to help remove dirt and impurities left in the gaps of the wood ear mushrooms. I gently squeezed and mixed the wood ear mushrooms in the flour with my hands. When you squeeze like that, you will feel the wood ear mushrooms gradually soften, and at the same time, the flour will stick to them and pull out the tiny layers of dirt. Washing with flour helps the wood ear mushrooms to be much cleaner than just washing with water. After a few gentle squeezes, I poured out the dirty water and washed the wood ear mushrooms under clean water again. I separated each strand of wood ear mushrooms to make sure they were all clean and free of residue. Now, I start boiling a pot of water to blanch the wood ear mushrooms. When the water starts to boil, I add all the cleaned wood ear mushrooms to the pot. I let the wood ear mushrooms cook for about 5 to 10 minutes, just enough for the wood ear mushrooms to fully bloom and become slightly crispy. Using a spoon, gently stir the wood ear mushrooms a few times to separate them evenly and cook faster. When the wood ear mushrooms have reached the desired doneness, I scoop them out immediately and put them in a bowl of filtered water to help them cool quickly, keeping their natural crispiness. Next, I squeeze the wood ear mushrooms with my hands to remove excess water. After that, I place the wood ear mushrooms on a cutting board and cut them into thin strips. The shiny black wood ear mushrooms look very attractive when sliced. Then, I put all of these wood ear mushrooms into the egg and bean bowl that I had prepared in advance. Next, I also add the bowl of minced chicken that has been marinated with spices. At this point, all the ingredients are ready: soft, fatty eggs and beans, lightly crispy wood ear mushrooms, and flavorful chicken. I use chopsticks to mix everything together. As you mix, you will see the mixture become blended. The colors harmonize and form a complete mixture, ready for the next step. Now, I move on to the main cooking step of the dish. I put a pot of water on the gas stove and turn on medium heat to gradually heat the water. Once the pot has started to warm up, I put the steamer tray inside, then put the bowl of ingredients on top of the steamer tray. To keep the steam from dripping down and diluting the dish, I cover the bowl with a plate before closing the lid. This way, the steamed dish will be soft, retain its natural aroma, and not be soaked in water. While waiting for the main dish to be steamed, I take the opportunity to prepare the vegetables to make the accompanying sauce later. First is the onion. I take half an onion, slice it into thin slices, and then chop it so that the onion can cook quickly and blend better when making the sauce. I put the sliced onion on a separate plate. Next is the carrot. I also used half a carrot, sliced thinly, then sliced lengthwise into thin strips. Finally, I chopped the carrot into small, pretty orange cubes. Then, I moved on to the bell peppers. I sliced them lengthwise first, then turned them horizontally and sliced them again to form even cubes. The color of the bell peppers makes the sauce later on more vibrant and attractive. Finally, garlic, an important ingredient for aroma. I had a few cloves of garlic, sliced thinly and minced. The light smell of fresh garlic made me feel that the upcoming sauce would be very fragrant and rich. Next, I started mixing the sauce to eat with. I prepared a clean bowl, then added the ingredients one by one. First, a little oyster sauce to create a rich flavor. Then I added a little olive oil to create a light fat and a characteristic aroma. I added a spoonful of seasoning powder, a spoonful of pepper to create a light spicy aroma, and a spoonful of flour to help the sauce mixture have a harmonious consistency. Finally, add a little filtered water and use chopsticks or a spoon to stir well to dissolve the ingredients together. When stirring, you will see the sauce turn a beautiful light brown color and have a light consistency. This is the foundation for us to make an extremely attractive minced vegetable sauce in the next step. When I finished preparing the sauce, the steamed egg in the pot was also cooked. I opened the lid. The hot steam rose up very fragrantly. To be safe, I wore heat-resistant gloves and gently lifted the bowl of steamed egg out. The surface of the steamed egg is now completely set, has a light golden color, and is very smooth. I use a knife to cut the egg into 3 vertical and 3 horizontal lines, creating even square pieces. When you separate them, you will see the chicken, wood ear, and beans mixed together very nicely, soft and fragrant. Now I start making the sauce to pour over the steamed egg tofu. I turn on the stove and put a small pan on to heat up. Once the pan is warm, I add a little cooking oil. As soon as the oil is hot, I immediately add all the mixed vegetables that I prepared earlier and stir-fry together. When the vegetables are combined, you will see a very pleasant aroma. The color also becomes more vibrant. I stir-fry until the vegetables start to soften and simmer. At this point, I pour the prepared sauce into the pan. As soon as the sauce touches the bottom of the hot pan, the mixture starts to thicken and coat the vegetables, creating a fragrant, beautiful layer of sauce. I add some chopped green onions to enhance the aroma and color of the sauce. I continue to stir-fry until all the ingredients are cooked evenly. The sauce is just thick enough and has an attractive aroma. When it reaches the perfect consistency, I turn off the stove. Finally, I poured all this hot sauce over the steamed egg bean curd that I had just cut. The sauce gently poured over the golden egg pieces, chicken and wood ear mushrooms below, creating a dish that was not only delicious, but also extremely beautiful. When I poured the hot sauce on top and mixed it a little, my dish was completely completed. I scooped a piece with a spoon and tried it while it was still warm. The eggs were smooth, the chicken was flavorful, the wood ear mushrooms were crispy and mixed with the fragrant and fatty vegetable sauce, all creating a very harmonious flavor, both simple and nutritious. This dish has amazing benefits. This is a protein-rich dish thanks to eggs and chicken. suitable for all meals of the day, especially good for people who need to supplement healthy energy. Wood ear mushrooms help purify the body and support the digestive system. Beans bring a soft, light feeling, easy to eat, and full for a long time. The vegetables in the sauce add vitamins, making the dish not only delicious, but also balanced in nutrition. This is a very suitable dish for children, the elderly, or those who want to eat healthy while still ensuring delicious taste and adequate nutrition. The video ends here. If you have any comments, please leave them below. If you find the video interesting, please give me a like. Don't forget to share with your family and friends. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support.